Hello everybody and welcome to September 3rd and 4th of your video lesson notes. We'll be handling the beginning of Thursday and also going into what Friday is because we're going to be doing similar things at the end or during both of the days today. We'll be going through the guided notes of the different parts of a cell. So let's get rolling right into it. First off, we're going to have our actual documents. So I'm going to bring up our folder for today. I'm doing this off screen right now. We'll have Thursday and Friday, September 3rd and 4th. Boop. Drop that into there so that we can see what's happening with it. The handout that we'll be looking at is the Looking Inside of Cells notes. So if you're at home and you have a printer available, you can print these out. Highly advise going through this. Otherwise, when you're back in class, you can grab a copy of it. But on one page, we have our list of all of our organelles, which are the parts of the cell that are going to be doing a different job in there. Think of them like the organs are to our body, the organelles are to the cell. So these are like all the little tiny organs inside of the cell. Think about it like that. We're going to have a color because we're going to color code on the next page here, and you're going to have a spot to put down the function of the function that it does. We're going to do a plant cell, and we're also going to do an animal cell. I'm going to be running through all of them. And I'm going to try to go through them kind of quickly so that the video doesn't take as long. If you need to pause to write down a definition, go ahead and pause. Because I'm going to be going through them kind of quickly here since I'm going to be showing both the coloring aspects of it along with some other things there. So what you'll need to do is pull that up. And the first two that we're going to deal with is both the cell membrane and... I need to move myself there. The cell membrane and the cytoplasm, two things going on with this. Cell membrane, it's going to be the outside of the cell, so it controls what goes in and out of the cell. The key word here with this one is that it is going to protect the cell. It covers the cell in every shape, way, and form, so it allows things in and out of it. And every cell is going to have one of these. The second thing is going to be our cytoplasm. That is basically like the water, the jelly, the space that is inside of the cell where there isn't an organelle. It's filled with something. It's not empty. A lot of the times it's shown as empty, but it's a jelly-like substance that all the organelles kind of just float in. So if we have a one-word thing that goes along with this, it's our jelly-like substance with it. Now we're going to color code these. The cell membrane, I'm going to go ahead and color code on my picture yellow. And I'm going to go to my picture here. Cytoplasm, I'm going to leave white. You'll find out why in just a little bit. So here, I'm going to color code all the way around our plant cell here. It's this tiny little line that goes all the way around. We're going to finish it off here. It's not the thicker part, it's the tinier part. My highlighter's a little bit thick at times, so it looks like I'm coloring, but it's that tiny little line that goes all the way around. That's for a plant cell. Now for the animal cell, it's a little bit different. The animal cell, it is everything that goes around. It's not these little hair-like guys. We'll talk about those in just a little bit. But it does include that extra thickness because the cell membrane is the only thing that surrounds an animal cell. And there's our cell membrane. Now the white areas that we're not coloring in right now, that's going to be, we're going to leave the cytoplasm to be white. That's because anything that we do not color then is going to be considered part of the cytoplasm because it just covers everything else that goes through everything. So those are the first two. Go back to our next ones here. Our next ones, we have the nucleus, the nuclear membrane, and the nucleolus. First off, we got the nucleus. It is the control center of the cell, and it kind of acts as the brain of the cell. But it's in control, the control center. Those are the main two. I'm going to get a new color here for this one. Let's make the nucleus this blue color. And it is the control center. So if you got two words to go with it, control center would be the one that's the easiest one to kind of put a function 2 there. We'll have our nuclear membrane. I'm going to minimize the screen because then I get more color options here. Nuclear membrane, let's make this weird color here. That's going to surround the nucleus. So just like the cell membrane surrounds the cell, the nuclear membrane is going to surround the nucleus. And it has a similar function that it controls what comes in and out of the cell. And then finally our nucleolus. I'm going to bump myself back up so you can see the nucleolus there. It is in the middle of the nucleus, and its function is that it creates ribosomes. And ribosomes are going to be one of our parts that we're going to get to in a little bit here. We're going to make that a dark blue color in our picture. And it's the middle of the nucleus. It's responsible for creating of the ribosomes there. It creates ribosomes. It's a creator in that aspect of it. So, we'll go back to our drawing here. We'll first do the plant cell. I'm going to start off with the nucleolus, since I already got that color pictured. It's the big blue dot in the middle there. And this one, it's right there for that big blue dot. That is the nucleolus. That is the center of the nucleus. So if we go back and look at the nuclear membrane, for this one, it's already kind of done for us. Because it's kind of already shaded that gray color, which is why I chose it that way. But kind of surrounds the plant like that. For this one, it's over here to the side. Shows it kind of surrounding there. If you're wondering what these dots are on the outside of it, those are the holes that allow things in and out of the nucleus. Then finally, we got our actual nucleus part here. And that is all of the rest of this stuff. If you're wondering what those lines are inside of the nucleus, that is the DNA. That is why it's the control center of the cell. It's because that is where the DNA is being held. So they kind of show that by drawing those squiggly lines in there. So I got the nucleolus, that's the dark blue. The nucleus itself is the blue, is the kind of lighter blue area, and then the grayish blue is going to be our nuclear membrane. It's kind of our different functions going on with that. Our next little part, we got all the transportation systems that happen inside of the cell, which there's quite a bit of, so we've got 3 different things going on with this. First thing, let's make this pink color. We'll have be the Golgi apparatus. It packages stuff to go outside of the cell. So its main thing is that its job is to send things out of the cell. So if it needs to go from one cell to another, the Golgi is what does it. Golgi apparatus. Sometimes it is also called the Golgi body. We're going to make that a pink color. Next color, let's make this orange color. We've got our rough endoplasmic reticulum. And we also got the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. We're going to make both of these the same color of orange. And I'll show you why in just a little bit. It has to deal with what is on top of them. Basically, what these are going to be doing is that these transport things within the cell. So they're responsible for transporting things into the cell itself. Same thing with the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, sometimes just called the ER. They transport things from the nucleus to the rest of the cell. So they only transport within the cell. The Golgi sends things out of the cell. The main difference between them is that the rough has ribosomes on them. The smooth does not. And you're going to be able to see this clear in the picture here. There's going to be little dots on one and no little dots on the other. Those little dots everywhere are going to be our ribosomes. So let's head back to our picture here. First, let's color in our Golgi. Our Golgi is going to be these weird looking things in the corner of the plant cells. Usually they're depicted being near the cell membrane because they're responsible for sending things outside of the cell. So we're going to send things outside of the cell when they're nearest. For the animal cell, it's this banana looking thing over here. So we're going to give that a covering of it. And boom, we've got our Golgi apparati covered. Let's get that orange color again. We're going to do our endoplasmic reticulum. So for our endoplasmic reticulum, For the animal cell, it is these things here. The smooth are these ones without all the little bumps over it. The rough is right next to it, but you see they have all these little dots over it. So try to make this be a lighter color, because we can then go back over and color in those dots over the top of what we just colored in. So that's both the smooth and the rough. The smooth are these ones. You can see my pencil there. The smooth are the ones where there are no bumps on them. They're all over the place. They're not shown all over the place because it's a picture and we need to fill out, but they go all the way throughout the entire cell. The rough has these little dots or these little circles all over them. Those dots are going to be our ribosomes. They're the little protein factories that we'll look at in just a little bit. Let's look at this guy here, and both of these are connected to the nucleus because they go from the nucleus to other parts of the body. So the smooth is up there, and the rough is here. Like I said, my highlighter's a little bit thick there, so if I cover some up, I'll go back over when we do ribosomes and get some dots all over those other guys there. So as the smooth and the rough, both those orange pictures there, they do the same role. The only difference is that one has ribosomes on it, the other one does not. The next thing that's happening with our stuff is our mitochondria. That's the powerhouse of the cell. Oh, and I need to change my positioning of the camera again. Bloop, there we go. Mitochondria, energy production in the cell. So let's make that, we haven't used a nice red yet. Let's do red for power. Yeah, that looks good there. They are responsible for making energy. Oh, and that just completely gets rid of it, so I will not highlight the actual words there, because then you can't read anything. So they're responsible for the energy. For the lysosomes, they're the trash compactors. So let's make that like a brown color. Where's a nice brown here? Yeah, let's make that kind of this brown color. That's kind of brownish. Because they destroy the unwanted things. So they're kind of like the garbage men of the cell. They destroy unwanted things. Oh, and you can't see that either. That kind of just covers up everything, even though it's a highlighter. They destroy the unwanted things in the cell. And then finally, we have our ribosomes. Let me just pop the camera back up. Boop, there we go again. We have our ribosomes. Let's just make those black, because they're going to be everywhere. Ribosomes, they make our protein for our bodies, and our proteins are very, very important. They're making the proteins. These ones destroy the unwanted things. I'll just highlight them in yellow there. That'll work. But they're going to be all over the place because proteins are very important. They are the kind of key to make sure that our bodies keep on going there, is having those proteins. So let's go ahead and color code some things here. We're going to do our mitochondria first. In the plant cell, there are these things that kind of look like steaks almost. There's a couple of them littered throughout because both plants and animals need energy. So they are plentiful in there. Even though plants get energy from the sun, they still need to be able to transform that into usable energy, and that's what mitochondria do. It takes the sunlight, or the energy that's gained from the sun, turns it into something that the cells can use. Same thing that our animal cells, they'll take the food energy that we get and they will turn them into usable energy for our cells. So for here we go. See these little steak things there. Kind of look like little steaks. Going forward in it. We next have I use the brownish color for this, the lysosomes. Now here's the problem with the plant cell. Plant cells have a lot of extra bits and pieces in it. So we actually have to add a lysosome in there. So just draw like a little circle over there between the two mitochondria. Maybe you can add another one like over here. There's going to be a couple of them. So they destroy some unwanted things. Add some bigger brown dots in there, or whatever color you're using for lysosome. You don't have to use brown. For the animal cell, we actually have them seen. That's these guys here. Boop. We can just color those guys in. And then finally, last but not least, we have our ribosomes. Oh, I could change the thickness of that the whole time. I'll learn that for later. And that's all these individual dots everywhere. So not only are they just in the cytoplasm themselves, but they are also, and I'm not going to hit all of them there, they're also on top of the endoplasmic reticulum. So you can go through, and this one will probably be the longest coloring one because you have to hit every single one of them to show where everything is at. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can kind of see all those little dots. That's what makes it rough for that endoplasmic reticulum. Here, got the same thing. There's the bell going off in the background. Means I got 8 minutes to finish off this video, which luckily we only have 3 more parts, I think, after this. I'm getting it pretty well done up here. There we go. All right, so you got the idea. All those would be our ribosomes going through there. You could watch me color all day, I bet, but we'll move on to our final part. The last 3 here are going to be things that the plant cells have a little bit more authority over. They look different than our animal cells, and that's the vacuole, which is actually in both of them, but it is a lot larger in the plant cell than it is in the animal cell, and that is because this is what stores water, other molecules, food, leftover energy. Basically, it's the storage area. It's the warehouse of the cell. So for this one, let's make this a nice... Ooh, let's make this purple. Why not? There's a nice little purple there. I'll increase that thickness again. Nice purple for the vacuole. Cell wall, that's going to be the outside support. This is in the plant only have a cell wall. So we're going to make that a green colored reference that it's only going to be a plant. And then we'll have chloroplast. Let's make that a darker green. This is what is going to carry out photosynthesis in plants. So I'm going to move myself up on top so you can see that part there. Collects the sunlight and carries out photosynthesis to produce the extra energy needed for plants. So we got the vacuole, cell wall, and chloroplast. Let's look at all 3 of those in the plant cell here. First off, since I have chloroplast already selected as my highlighter, these are what the chloroplasts look like. They're these bigger things. These are the basically like the solar panels for a plant cell. Animal cells will not have these. So we're going to stay on the plant for the next part here. But those are where the chloroplasts are located at. There's multiple of them there. They show 2 in this one. The cell wall is this very thick part on the outside. Let's see if I can make this even thicker to go faster. There we go. It's this whole extra layer of protection. That goes all the way around. I'm going to try to cut into that there, going all the way around. Bringing it around town. All right, there we go. There's our cell wall. There's nothing for a cell wall for animal cells, so that's all we need to do for that. Then we need to take our purple and do our vacuole. The vacuole is this big old thing that's been in the middle. It's gigantic inside of a plant cell, so it's this giant thing there that is going to be our plant cell, or the plant cell vacuole. It's huge inside of a plant. And then for our animal cell, we're going to have to add one. So kind of similar to how we did the lysosome in the plant. They look very similar. Just add a couple of smaller dots throughout the cell. Those would be our vacuoles going on for there. And there we have it. The extra bits and pieces for the animal cell, if you're wondering about what these hair things are, those hair things are going to be called cilia, and that's what helps the cell move about. They kind of flap back and forth like my fingers are doing right here, and they kind of swim around a little bit. And then you've got the, if you're wondering what these like chopstick looking things are, that's kind of more of the, what we call the cytoskeleton, which is some of the kind of support that an animal cell has since they do not have a cell wall. They'll kind of strengthen and support the cell to make sure that it's still doing what it needs to be doing and still able to keep its roundish shape, even though it doesn't have that tough exterior edge to it. So that is our notes. That's going over everything there. We're going to tackle this over 2 days. So with that being said, if you need any assistance whatsoever, make sure that you are emailing me out or emailing me up. Once again, the email is, Where am I at? Where am I at? There we are. Boom. Right up above there. Email. Hit it up. And with that being said, stay well, stay safe. Always remember, it is a great day to be a junior potter.